Imagine being the most dangerous man in the room, but the room doesn't even know you exist. Imagine fooling a king's army, navigating the highest circles of British command, and holding the fate of a revolution in your hands, all while the world sees you as nothing more than a servant. This isn't the plot of a Hollywood thriller. This is the life of James Armistead. Born into modern-day Virginia as an enslaved man, James would become America's first black double agent. He was a ghost in the machine of the British Empire, a man who traded secrets for the hope of a liberty that his own country hadn't yet promised him. Today, we unfilter the story of the spy who won the Battle of Yorktown. It was 1781. The American Revolution was at a breaking point. James Armistead gained permission from his master, William Armistead, to join the Allied forces under the Marquis de Lafayette. But Lafayette didn't put a musket in James's hand. He realized James had a far more lethal weapon, his invisibility. Because the British High Command viewed enslaved people as intellectually inferior and politically indifferent, they were the perfect candidates for espionage. James crossed enemy lines, posing as a runaway slave looking for work. He didn't just enter the camp, he entered the inner circle. He first infiltrated the camp of the most hated man in America, the traitor Benedict Arnold. James served Arnold so effectively that he was eventually moved to the headquarters of Lord Cornwallis himself. Can you imagine the nerves? One wrong word, one slip of a colonial accent, and it would have been the gallows. But James was a master of the craft. Cornwallis trusted him so much that he actually asked James to spy on the Americans. James agreed, officially becoming a double agent, feeding Cornwallis false information while delivering the cold, hard truth back to Lafayette. This is where the history books often get quiet, but the facts are loud. James was the primary source of intelligence leading up to the siege of Yorktown. He wasn't just reporting on some soldiers, he was providing detailed breakdowns of British troop strength, arms supplies, and most importantly, their strategic movements. In the summer of 1781, James sent a dispatch that changed everything. He informed Lafayette that Cornwallis was moving his forces to a small port town called Yorktown. This was the Eureka moment. Because of James's intelligence, the Continental Army and the French fleet were able to coordinate a massive pincer movement. They knew exactly where the British were, how many they were, and that they were waiting for reinforcements that would never arrive in time. Time for our historical receipts. History isn't just stories, it's documented facts. We look at the records from the summer of 1781, where Lafayette wrote, "His intelligences from the enemy's camp were industriously collected and more faithfully delivered." Lafayette credited the success of the Virginia campaign to the frequent and correct information provided by his secret agent. Without James, the trap at Yorktown might never have been set. The war ended. America won its independence. But for James, the liberty he helped secure was a bitter irony. Under the Act of 1783, only enslaved men who had served as soldiers were granted manumission. Because James was a spy, a volunteer worker in the eyes of the law, he was returned to a life of enslavement after the war. It took another 2 years of grueling legal battles. James had to petition the Virginia General Assembly for his freedom, but he wasn't alone. The Marquis de Lafayette was outraged. In 1784, the general wrote a glowing testimonial, certifying James's essential services to the United States. This letter was the key. Finally, in 1787, James Armistead became a free man. In a final act of mutual respect, James took a new surname, Lafayette. He spent the rest of his life as James Armistead Lafayette, a farmer and a hero in plain sight. James's story reminds us that black intelligence and bravery were foundational to the birth of this nation. He fought for a country that didn't yet recognize his humanity, proving that the American dream was often carried on the shoulders of those it sought to exclude. If you found James's story as incredible as we did, hit that like button and share this video. We need to make sure these ghosts in our history are finally seen. Follow us for the next episode where we explore the Green Book and how black travelers navigated the dangers of the open road. I'm your narrator, and this has been Black History Unfiltered. See you in the next one.